This is a Lip Media podcast.
Me. I am a memoir. I said a memoir. The meaning of Mariah Carey.
Well, hello, Lamely. Welcome to a bonus. This is a very special episode of me. I am a memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. We will be eventually reading Mariah Carey's memoir chapter by chapter, starting on the 9th of November. But today, please welcome... I'm the fabulous Adam Richard, Fab. Please welcome Posh, Phillip Lee Curtis.
Hello, darling.
As we discuss the Rarities album. Track by track.
Track by track.
Oh my God, this is going to be fun.
Bring me on down. I have the list right in front of me. I've been listening until stupid o'clock to make these notes. Some songs I've gone way into, and there's so many notes. Other songs, there's like a one-word answer. I just got a bit tired. Starting with track number 1. Here We Go Around Again, which was recorded for the debut album, Mariah Carey.
Oh, a very, very long time ago.
A very long time. And I was glad that there was something from that long ago.
Yeah.
Just
and
to
it's
see the growth, you know?
Oh, there's a lot of growth. That's one of the things as an overall view of this album. The fact that each track has in brackets the year it was recorded. So you can kind of it's like number 1 to Infinity, the B-side. It's like she's gone, oh, here's all the stuff that was going on while you were listening to all my millions of number 1 songs.
Yes. Yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't called The Should Have Been number 1. So my initial, because I should point out that for me, this was the first time hearing a lot of these songs, whereas for Fab, he had heard quite a few of them on B-sides and special editions of albums over the years.
I hadn't heard this one. This one was new to me. I thought this first song was going to be... There's a demo floating around, which I think I played on Fox FM about 1 million years ago. I did a week where I dug up old songs by people who were big from before they were famous and got people to ring in and guess if they knew who they were. And I found a song called Weakness of the Body. Which is a great song. And I thought that was going to be on here, but no.
Okay. That's because you played it. Mariah was like, it was already out there. That fucking Fab put it on the radio.
I did it. It was everywhere. It wasn't just me.
So yeah, what's kind of fun is that this is all first listen for me, whereas Fab's a little bit more across things.
Mm-hmm. But this was my first listen. Here we go around again. I did enjoy it.
And how did you feel?
It's very of that time. Like the songs she wrote for that demo tape with Ben Margulies, who she used to work with. Like they're all kind of a style, a very 90s style. Yeah. Like this was we're talking about the era of Paula Abdul and MC Scat Cat. So this wouldn't have been out of place with a cartoon singing.
Absolutely. The first thing that came into my head was it's very the Jacksons.
It is.
It's very Jackson 5.
It does have it's got a bit of a feel of I Want You Back, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
And that's a fun thing. It's kind of throwback, and even in the 90s it was the throwback.
Yes.
But the other thing it did remind me of, which is you've kind of touched on, is that very early 90s style of... Number 1, back, another reference to Alanis Morissette with her Canadian pop career before Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
Which was very much the big hair and the dancing. But also Alyssa Milano's pop career in Japan. If you're aware of that.
I am.
Yeah. And I think what I found really interesting, as much as I enjoyed it, I am glad it was left off, because I feel that for the most part, Mariah has avoided too much embarrassment. You can go back to her first single, Vision of Love, and it is still heaven. Yeah. Whereas, perhaps Alyssa Milano is probably not going to whip out the pop songs from 1989. So I felt like this was going a little into that territory. So
Well, it was apparently the first song she wrote with Ben Muglies. So,
it's like Murder She Wrote, but first song she wrote.
No, but yeah, I think it's yeah, like, you can hear that there was a growth even on that album. So
Absolutely,
it's it's a cute song, but it's not, it's not the best thing on that album, and everything on that album is the best thing on that album.
Even she said, and they included it, is the end of that was iffy.
Yeah, I know. I love that she's included like some demo chat back to the studio. It's like, I'll leave that on. Like, I could re-sing it now and fix it, or I can just leave it. I'm just going to leave it.
It's fine. Sometimes that's where you get the best stuff.
Yeah.
On to song 2, Can You Hear Me?
Can You Hear Me?
Which was recorded for the Emotions album.
Yes. The Emotions album had a lot thrown at it. Like, it was one of those, this can't be a difficult second album.
Yes, yeah.
And there were like 250 ballads, I think, thrown at it. As well as the up-tempo numbers. So, yeah, like there was bound to be, I reckon this is probably one of maybe 6 or 7 songs that fell through the cracks, to be honest.
The thing that struck me about it was the vocal was much rawer than I'm used to. Like, the cracks were left in, which is fun. Like, I like that. And it almost reminded me of something that she would have done much later in her career.
Yeah, although there's a couple of tracks on Emotions where she does kind of let loose like that. Like the ones with Carole King, for instance, she just goes, oh yeah, my lower register, I'm not quite in control of it on So Cold, but I'm going to leave that there. Yeah. Like it very much feels, you can tell it's an Emotions song, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah, it's there are enough really good ballads on that album. We didn't need another one.
Yeah. And now you get one extra.
One extra. You get a spare.
Yeah, it's in the boot. Now, on to song 3, Do You Think of Me, which was the B-side of Dream Lover and recorded for the Music Box album. I have to say, this was one of my favorites.
This is one of my favorite Mariah songs of all time. Yeah. Weirdly. And also when I was living I used to live in this place in St Kilda, which we used to call Melrose Place. Yeah. And my flatmate Narelle, again, not a fan of Mariah, mainly because it was always on whenever she came home from work. But this was the one song she was like, why isn't more of her music like this? I really like this one. Okay. And I love the lush production. I've always loved this song. I just love the layered vocals. It's one of my favorite Mariah songs of all time.
Yeah, look, instantly the intro gave me Viva Forever vibes, which is always a good thing. But I thought, the melody I connected to pretty much straight away. Much quicker than the first 2 songs. It took a listen or 2. I wasn't sure if it was quite single worthy, but I definitely felt like it would have made a nice album cut. Yeah. And I think for Lambs buying the single, it would have been a really awesome little bonus, secret song that not everyone knew about. Like, listen to this one.
Also, I mean, Dream Lover was one of the first times we got a Mariah Carey remix where she was like, that's great, but you've changed the key. I'll just come and sing it again.
Yeah.
And she continued to do that throughout her career. It's I'll remix. I'll get back in the studio. I'll fix that for you. And the Dream Lover. So all of the Dream Lover singles, which I have many of.
In the Mariah room.
In my Mariah room. Are all spectacular. But yeah, this song in particular has long been one of my favorites. And also just the kind of plaintive quality of it. Like asking, do you think of me, of someone who's moved on and just going, oh, am I still important to you? Yeah.
I like to think that all of my exes are sitting around thinking about me.
Yeah, they must
be.
Missed
out on.
Oh, they all would be. I guarantee it.
Simply stop once the relationship ends. Now, track 4, also around the Music Box time, it was an international bonus track.
It was on the Australian version of the album.
There you go.
So we just know it as
part of it.
as you know, it feels weird being on this Rarities. I was like, that was on the album. Why?
Yeah, what are you talking
Why is
about?
this on here? That was already on an album.
Yeah, but this is back in the day where you could have international bonus tracks for each territory, and no one knew about them because
no one knew about it.
So it was Everything Fades Away, which is apparently one of Mariah's favorites.
It is an amazing song. Again, also love it. That's one of the things I found weird when I saw this track listing. I was like, why is that on? Oh, was that just me? I was the only one who heard
you
that.
and Mariah. Yeah.
Me and Mariah. No one else has heard it. It's just me.
And I felt like with this one, when it first, the song first started playing, I wasn't 100% sure, but as soon as those backing vocalists kicked in, I was like, okay, no, I'm here. I love a bit of drama, so I think when the vocalists came in, I was like, oh, okay, here we go, we're building.
Also, she manages to, kick a key change right out of the park in this one.
I actually wrote down that I think it would go down really well live.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see this one.
That she did do a little live a cappella version when she was doing a live performance somewhere. Was it a backstage, or maybe it was like one of those Zoom chats that she's been doing lately, and she's with a couple of backup singers, and they just launch into this. I can't remember where it's from, but it was it's a cute little moment. But yeah, this was from the Mariah Carey, Walter Afanasieff, crazy times where they were just pumping out hits, and even their bonus tracks are amazing.
Even on the Entertainment Tonight clips that I referred to in the previous episode, there was moments where she was like, I haven't been around that long, it's just that I've had so many albums. Because they were like, oh, how does it feel to watch these new up-and-comers? You've had so many awards. She's like, yeah, I've been here for 4.5 years, guys. Relax. I just smashed it out. God. Jumping on to track 5, All I Live For, which was also from the Music Box era. And I have to say, although it felt very much a Mariah song, there were elements of Janet Jackson in there for me.
Oh, yeah.
Not the whole song, but just portions. I was like, ooh, in a good way. It was a positive.
Yeah.
And I love that there was a very light, tentative whistle note in the end. Just throw it out there.
Throw it out there.
Doesn't need to be a main focus.
Look, possibly my all-time favourite Mariah Carey song comes from Music Box, which is All I've Ever Wanted. And that has some hardcore key change belting going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just... nothing... Everything else from that era, I just go, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
but is it all I've ever wanted?
Yeah. My note for this one was I enjoyed it, but not quite a wow moment. So maybe a similar kind of feeling.
Yeah.
On to track 6, One Night, which was recorded for Daydream. This was a surprise.
Yeah.
It began with this sort of nice stripped back production intro, and then it was like, oh, hang on, no, we're singing another song now.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a complete left turn. All right, off we go. But the thing that I could think of was the doo-doo-doos. Mariah loves a doo-doo-doo.
She loves a doo-doo-doo.
But they just kept reminding me of Good Times by S Club 7. Which was an album track, which just had similar doo-doos. Let's be real.
This song feels like... so this was for Daydream, yeah? Mm-hmm. So this feels like the song that bridges Daydream and Butterfly. Like, this feels like the song that's like, no, this is what I really want to be doing.
Yeah.
Working with Jermaine Dupri and kind of getting that much more R&B... kind of street feel going on, as opposed to her very kind of lush, high, polished pop productions. So, I feel like this is like a stepping stone. And the reason it probably didn't make the album is because it's like, Daydream, we're trying to still keep you pretty. With your gingham bras swinging on a swing.
We've got one more to go. It did, and I don't know why, it gave me 90s sitcom feel.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, like Sister Act or something where people would just get around and sing it.
Yep.
Out of the blue. And I love some of the lyrics. Sashaying, arousing. Yes. Mariah was getting wordy on us.
Yep. Daydream, like one of my favourite phrases ever from a Mariah Carey song is hectic inside.
Baby.
I get kind of hectic inside. I'm like, that technically makes no sense, but I love it.
Yeah. Mariahism. And then continuing in the Daydream era, we've got track 7, Slipping Away, which was the B-side to Always Be My Baby.
Yeah.
And apparently removed from Daydream for being too R&B / alluding to the marriage breakdown of Mariah and Tommy.
Yeah, and it's it is that. But this is a really good song. Like, that is a real tragedy that it's not. This is another one like Do You Think of Me? That is one of my favorite Mariah tracks, and I feel like, I'm glad it's, like I was saying, a couple of weeks ago, I'm glad these songs have a home now, because they've felt like orphans for so long. But yeah, this has long been one of my favorites that I just sing for no good reason.
I feel like the thing that strikes me as odd, and maybe it's because, I am a white man from Victoria.
Yes.
I'm not from America. The Daydream album, in comparison to the other pop albums we were getting at the time, it did seem R&B. Like, I don't think it's pure pop. There's definitely R&B flavor to it. So I always thought it was odd when people say, "Oh, it's too R&B," because I'm like, I think that would have fitted quite well.
I know, and this, like, listening to Slipping Away, you're just like, it's not that R&B, really. It's quite poppy.
And I don't think it's any more or less R&B than some of the other songs from that album.
Yeah.
So that it maybe was more to do with the lyrical content.
I think it might have been, yes.
It is strange though, because that's Daydream's one of the albums I know the best. So to think that it would be different than it is throws me off. I'm like, where would it go?
Where would it go?
I don't understand.
Where would you jam it?
But I did love one of the quotes Mariah gave in one of her interviews, was talking about this being a B-side, and she said, it was B-sides were, what was it, before I was born. Somehow they predicted that I would want one. Because, these songs were written before Mariah was born.
Yes, that's true.
But by her.
She's very skilled.
Shooting straight across to song 8, which we have discussed out here on my own.
Still
Irene
amazing.
Cara classic from the Glitter soundtrack. I think I enjoyed it even more hearing it in the context of the Rarities album.
Yep.
And I think knowing a little bit more about how important it is for Mariah, how she won a trophy for it when she was younger, it just hit a little differently.
Yes.
And I could sort of hear the emotion in the vocal, in the delivery. So yeah, that's kind of nice. I like when you get to hear something in a different setting. It's not just by itself.
And I feel like, her performance of it, just her and the piano, kind of informs one of my favorite songs from the Glitter soundtrack, which is Reflections, Care Enough. You have to say it in brackets when... Reflections, Care Enough.
My favorite song in the whole world, like written down, is Britney's bracket You Drive Me bracket Crazy bracket the Stop remix bracket. It's beyond. I don't think any other song was released with a bracket after that, because they'd conquered brackets. Now I think that probably the most awaited song from this album was the Loverboy Firecracker original version.
Yes.
Which, I mean, the Lambs know this story very well.
Yes.
So I was very excited to hear this song. And I was also quite surprised at how different it is. We know that the melody was already kind of from Firecracker, from the chorus. But the intro was completely different. And I actually thought that...
Like, the vocals are completely different. Like, she re-sang the vocals. Yeah.
I feel like the vocals are... it's either a slightly higher pitch or she's just hitting it slightly higher. And the chorus is much more raw.
Yeah.
It's not so polished. With that said, it may not have been what would have been the final, if that makes sense. This may...
Oh, you think because they got wind of the fact that she had... she'd been gazumped with a sample by J-Lo on I'm Real.
Yeah. There might have been like one more pass on the production.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And that's cool anyway. It still sounds great. But obviously we haven't read the book yet.
No.
So we don't know the full chapter. But this week the headlines have all been about this song and about J-Lo, and Mariah shades J-Lo, which, based on what I'm seeing, I mean, there's a little shade thrown in around the song, but it doesn't appear that, and again, I could be proven very wrong, it doesn't appear that Mariah's really shading J-Lo specifically.
I think that's one of these things that happens when you, as someone who used to do celebrity gossip for a living, sometimes what you'll do is you'll go, I don't have anything today. What's Mariah Carey doing? Has she specifically mentioned J-Lo? No. But I can still say she's shading her because she released that song.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Because when she was asked, point blank, if J-Lo was in the book, didn't she say only things that pertain to the meaning of Mariah Carey are in the book?
I mean, it may not have even been specifically that. It might have just been us reading it that way. But I think that's the thing that I find very interesting about this particular, rift or feud, is that really, I think J-Lo is interchangeable with any artist that, like, I think Tommy would have done what he did anyway.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
with anyone.
With anyone.
It didn't have to be, It
didn't have to be J-Lo. So I'm curious, I'd love to know exactly what J-Lo knew. Maybe she did know everything, which, fair enough, give the shade. But maybe she was just like told, sing this song, please. Okay. Because, she had an album out prior to that album and it was doing quite well. So, it didn't seem that she needed to be the next Mariah, but that seems to be the thing that all of the studio execs tell everyone. We're going to make you the next Mariah. And if Tommy's purposefully chasing down Mariah's samples and stealing her ideas, well, yeah.
Well, it's not like, J-Lo, we've both been to see her in concert, and she's a dynamic performer, but she's not the best singer in the world.
And that's what makes me laugh as well, the comparisons when it's like, I mean, yes, you can draw comparisons in a way, but
like, it's just marketing, really.
Yeah, Mariah is the vocalist. Mariah is the songwriter. J-Lo is a great performer. I don't think anyone would deny that. She's
Mariah is not, she's not going to be shaking her booty in anywhere near the same acrobatic fashion as J-Lo. Like, if Mariah wanted to touch the back of her heels with her bum, we might need about 3 days. And 4 backup dancers to help her down and back up again so she doesn't break a nail. Like, she's not going to do it.
I feel like I'm in the same boat there.
Oh, yeah, same.
And then the only real comparison you could make is to their film careers, where they've both had some hits and misses.
Yeah.
Really. So this whole thing makes
At least Mariah's never gone down the terrible, Made in Manhattan.
I would love to see that, though. Like, maybe that's the thing. Mariah should just remake all of J-Lo's awful movies.
Oh, like, I mean, I loved Made in Manhattan for some very terrible reasons. J-Lo's very likable on screen as an actor. Like,
I think Monster-in-Law is probably my
Monster. Is that's Jane Fonda, isn't it?
Yeah, and Wanda Sykes.
And who's the husband? It's always some nobody no one cares about.
Yeah, white boy from LA. Michael Vartan, maybe?
Oh, him! I played poker with him once. He's lovely.
Really?
Oh, Jesus! Look at that! Where did that name go?
I know. And when you say poker, what do you mean?
No, we bonded over the fact that his ex Jennifer Garner tried to hang up on me once. Anyway.
Oh, that's right. That's who they. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, look.
Oh, did you piss off Jennifer Garner? She's so nice, apparently.
I know, I love her. I was really upset that I did that. And then when I was telling him the story, he goes, no, don't take much to piss her off. I'm like, okay.
Poor Jager. Maybe that's what this is all about. But no, I'm very curious. I mean, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when all of that was happening, because it's very...
But you would have had to be many flies on many walls, because I think it was like, it feels like a lot of meetings that had nothing to do with either J-Lo or Mariah. Like, do you think J-Lo knew that she was being given a sample that had been earmarked for a song?
Well, I doubt it. Based on my experience, a lot of people, especially back then, were just told to do this thing. So most likely it was just like, oh yeah, cool. But then I feel like J-Lo probably wasn't told a lot. Like, hey, that's actually Christina Milian's voice on that song. All right, let's skip ahead to number 10, I Pray.
Oh,
One,
you know I love when Mariah goes to church.
He goes to church. There was quite a story behind this one.
Yeah.
It was written for a singer named Lena Robbins Tamua. Forgive me if I've mispronounced the surname. When she appeared on Oprah's Wildest Dreams in 2005. You may have realized under a different name, but they go by Lena now.
Yes.
And so Mariah and Randy Jackson worked together to make this song for Lena, and Mariah wrote and produced the whole thing, and Lena had the copy. I've gone onto Lena's Instagram, and she talks about this time and how she actually had this version, and the Lambs were trying to get her to release it, and she didn't, obviously.
No.
But then Mariah actually alludes to it, and I think Lena was very excited that Mariah mentioned her in the liner notes by the name Lena, which is very important. And yeah, look, we were taken straight to church on this one.
It is full blown gospel. I love it. Like one of my favorite songs on the Merry Christmas album is the full churchy one, where it's just like screaming Jesus from the top of her lungs for about 4 minutes. I'm like, yep, I am loving this church vibe.
Do you think there's a Church of Mariah somewhere?
Oh, there very well could be.
Yeah.
You know, the pinnacle for this kind of pop rock gospel is the Aretha Franklin album that she recorded in a church with a choir. Like, it is.
God, that's amazing.
It is seriously one of the best albums you have ever heard in your life, and it is just like Aretha. And I feel like that's an album that Mariah needs to do at some point.
Yeah.
A full-blown gospel album. Like, I know Michelle from Destiny's Child just does all gospel all the time now.
Yeah.
That's her bread and butter. But yeah, I want to hear a full Mariah gospel album. And there is, as we're about to get to, another genre that I think Mariah could do an entire album of as well.
All right, let's see where that goes. So song track 11, Cool on You.
Cool on You.
2007. Now, this being in 2007, it was recorded between The Emancipation of Mimi and E equals MC squared. So I'm thinking maybe an early demo for E equals MC squared, or a leftover from Emancipation. There was
the Emancipation re-release, which had like about 5 or 6 extra songs on it, including
Don't Forget About Us.
Oh, my fave. One of my faves. Why are all my faves on like leftover Mariah?
I know. Maybe because it's like more special.
Maybe it's the bonus track on the Australian version, or it's Don't Forget About Us.
Just for me.
Like when she sang it when I saw her in Sydney, and she started playing that song. She's like, I don't normally do this one, but I know you love it down here. I'm like, excellent. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you for paying attention to the songs we like, as opposed to some other people who maybe came from Australia and then refused to sing any songs from her biggest selling album here. Anyway.
Now, Cool on You, the thing that I just wrote down Eat Dirt, because that was one of the lyrics.
I love the kind of childish screaming in the background. Like, it's just...
And I think style-wise, it kind of made me think of the child of It's Like That and Shake It Off. So it felt somewhere in between there. So I think it actually would have fitted quite well on the Emancipation of Mimi, or E equals MC squared.
Well, she did she had that weird marching band vibe going for a little while there. And it feels like that maybe it was too similar to that kind of sound that,
it's a very American thing.
That up out my face kind of, big band, marching band vibe. So yeah, I think it was just, maybe it was like, there's too many, it's either up out my face or Cool on You.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like,
I'm sure that happens a lot.
It probably does. Yeah. But, it's fun. It's just, I think I prefer a bit of marching band to kids screaming in a park.
Well, that's the thing. So when I watched Beyonce's Homecoming, I'd heard so many wonderful things about it, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I was so confused. I'm like, why is there so much marching band? Not realizing that Homecoming is like a whole thing in America. It's very school oriented, and the band and the cheerleaders. And I was like, oh.
And that was kind of a big thing around that time. Like also the Madonna and Justin Timberlake 4 Minutes goes like very marching band. Like it was a big thing in music in that era. So
can I say, Madonna's 4 Minutes is one of her highest selling singles, which is just abhorrent.
yeah.
Like I think above it is maybe like a Prayer and Like a Virgin, and then 4 Minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Vogue? Like, come on.
Yeah, but it's JT.
Yeah, I suppose.
JT can do no wrong.
On to track 12, Mesmerize from 2012, which was written for Lee Daniels, the Paperboy.
Yes.
I love that it just started with her singing and she's testing the microphone.
I know.
That's clearly not part of the song, but she's like, yes, it is now. But I want to know, this reminded me of a very big hit for someone else. An older song. Is there anything that springs into your mind?
I don't know. What are you thinking? I'll probably go, oh, yeah, once you say
I
it.
got More by Andrea True Connection. How do you like it?
Oh, how do you like it? How do you like it?
There was, I don't know why. I kept going, what
See,
is
I'm
it?
more
What is
familiar
it?
with the the banana rama cover version.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Mo from The Simpsons.
Yeah, I
like it?
kind of vaguely get that. It's,
Which is not a bad thing. It's a great song. So it
Yeah.
certainly wasn't a complaint, but it was just I was like, what is it? What is it? What is it? It's on the
Yeah.
tip of my tongue. But it came to me. No, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't included on
Again, there are so many songs that are like I'm kind of surprised that like what was the single she had out that never went on an album in between?
Triumphant?
Yeah, Triumphant. Like I'm like, where's Triumphant? Why isn't that on here? Like that, I love that song. That's a great song, but it never kind of landed on an album. Yeah. It was just a single that lived
it's
alone
no Almost
in
Home.
the world.
It is no Almost Home.
Why isn't Almost Home on here?
Because we did it to death.
It's my favorite.
So good.
Like she could have another album of Rarities. I'm telling you, maybe that is the plan. Maybe Almost
She has
Home,
said, even
Triumphant.
with the amount of books the amount of writing that they did for the book, that there's more books, worth of material. So I'm like, just keep releasing.
Keep releasing books, keep releasing Rarities. I'm happy for it. But I feel like there's some glaring omissions here.
Okay. Yeah. I feel that. I mean,
although
Almost
they
Home,
were singles, and I guess none of
That's
these
true.
were singles. Yeah.
And Almost Home is so iconic that it just would have overshadowed everything.
Everything. Everything. It just would have been like all nets cast and nothing would have gotten away.
Yeah. On to track 13. I feel like this might be the one you were talking about. Lullaby of Birdland, which is really known as a jazz standard.
It is a jazz standard. And it's not her first foray into jazz. The Wind on the Emotions album. I know, I pull my finger. But The Wind is a jazz number that she adapted and sang over the top of, and it's beautiful. And she's got such a beautiful jazz voice that you just go, oh, I could do a whole album of Mariah jazz.
Yeah.
What if it was a double album, one side jazz, one side gospel? I'm pitching it now.
Yeah, and a third track of just Almost Home. Over and over again.
That is just our own personal love affair.
I will say, like, this version was recorded during the Lucy Santos tour.
Yes.
And I just thought more than anything, Mariah seemed to be having fun.
Yeah.
Like, she sounded really relaxed. The vocals.
I think that's the most relaxed she's been in concert in a long time. And since then, she just it feels like she's got nothing left to prove. She's, people are coming to see her for her. I'll just do what I feel like on stage. I'll sing all the songs I want to sing. And
it doesn't need to be, a huge vocal gymnastics performance. It just hits her in the sweet spot of her voice. Mm-hmm. And she could probably do, like you said, a whole concert of it.
Yeah.
And kind of nail all of it. So no, I thought it was great.
It is interesting that, normally an artist who's had as many anniversaries as Mariah would have moved into kind of more niche genre pieces by now. Like she's still releasing big commercial albums as opposed to, many other people go into, like some people might sing 4 albums of Motown hits and do tours of Vegas.
Can't imagine who you're talking about.
But those kind of artists who just go, oh yeah, all my pop fans have left me. I'll just do this now, or I'll go over there and do that.
And you know what? I actually think because Melanie C's new album came out yesterday or the day before, and she has said a lot about for years she's like I'm sort of done. I need to be put out to pasture, and then she's turned around and going, you know what? Sod that. I'm going to do the music I want to make. I don't care if 1 million people listen or 10. Yeah. And often when an artist does that, no matter what their age is, as she said, she doesn't sound old.
No.
Her words, not mine. It's so much better when people just do what they want to do. But you also still, there's the other artist that chases the trends, and that doesn't always end very well for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the amazing thing about Mariah writing her own music, writing her own lyrics, and being big into her own production, is that she can go, well, this is what I want to do. Yeah. She doesn't need to go, oh, all of the hot producers want to work with other artists, so I'm left here with this guy who wants to make Mariah Carey sings the songs from the best movies.
Although we would eat that up.
I know. She wanted to belt out the Titanic and and that Annie Lennox thing from Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't complain.
Now, this does bring us to track 14, which we have discussed at length already.
Yes, we have.
Of the day, which really all there is to say is we love it. And I think it makes sense why it was the single, because I think it's the one that you most return to.
Yeah. And when I love where it is in the track listing, because you kind of get through everything and you've just had the live version of Lullaby Burned and you're like, oh, is this a bonus track? The album's finished. Oh, no, this one. That's right. I love this one.
Oh, that's for this song. It's Lauryn Hill's on it.
I know.
So I don't feel we need to.
And we think of our single tier coming out.
I just can't.
You can't.
I'm trying to get one to squeeze out as we speak. And then the closing song, track 15, Close My Eyes, acoustic, which was originally on the Butterfly album, which does, of course, start with Wayward Child.
Yes. I feel like the lyrics are very, very echoing from the book. And I wonder whether this acoustic version, because it's in brackets 2020, has just, it's just something she just sort of kept just wandering into while she was in the middle of recording the audiobook. It's like, this chapter is Wayward Child. I was away.
I feel like that's just going to be the entire audiobook. But I went back and listened to the original just after I listened to the acoustic, and it's not vastly different. No. But it was nice to hear her sing it now, with her voice how it is now, with a little more experience, a little more perspective. Just perhaps dug a little deeper.
And also there's so much production on the original one, like with the layered vocals, that it's she does get a little bit drowned out at times by the da-da-das.
She loves the da-da-da, she loves the do-do-do.
She loves the da-da-da and a do-do-do.
Yeah.
She loves a little hook. She's good at it.
Do-do TM.
All right, now we're going to go through every song on the Japanese edition.
We're going to perform the live show in our lounge room for you.
And her desperate attempts to butcher the Japanese language.
I can still count to 10. Does that... Song Itchy.
I do have to say that I nearly pressed the skip button when I listened to this the first time because it is my reflex, and then went, no, it's October. I can listen just once to a live version of All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Because I think that's the last one, isn't it? The finale.
It is the final song, and it's like, oh no, I can't. It's October. Come on.
One little sneaky
listen. I'm having a mince pie for lunch.
Well, Mariah's released it, so I feel like she would like us to hear it.
She would like us to hear it, but not go crazy with it.
Not go crazy. It's Mariah approved in moderation.
Yeah. And because it's live, it just was at a concert. It happened at the time. Yes. Now I want to know when the concert was. Like, I would love it if the concert was in April. And suddenly everyone's hungry for KFC. Because I don't know if you know this about Japan, but it is a tradition to eat KFC on Christmas Day.
Is it really?
Yes!
And apparently...
It's a big thing in Japan.
Christmas in Japan is in April, so...
Yeah,
it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Just string shit together until it makes no sense.
Japanese people hear, and they're like, oh, I feel like chicken.
I mean, I feel like chicken most of the time.
Well, that is true.
But that does bring us to the end of the at least the first disc.
We're not going to go through the Tokyo Dome.
No. Perhaps someday, maybe as a little bonus later on, we can watch the YouTube version, which she has released.
Yes, I have noticed that.
But I was just too damn tired at 4 a.m.
No, don't. I'm glad you, like, I appreciate your commitment.
Oh, yeah. I take things way too far.
You do.
Like Mariah, only showing one half of her face. I take jokes and podcasts way too far. At the end of the podcast, baby. Almost there, almost home. You could probably say, but you won't because of copyright.
I have to say, I'm very happy that some of my favourite Mariah orphans have found themselves a home. They've found a lifetime parents.
Maybe she could write a Christmas movie about this album. Where her songs find a home.
Oh yes, that would be beautiful.
And then the song at the end is Almost Home.
Don't.
People are going to be listening going, why are they obsessed with Almost Home? And I'm going to say,
if you're wondering why we're obsessed with Almost Home, please go and watch the video clip now and try to ignore all of the weird James Franco bits.
Just as Mariah did.
It's just Mariah in black and white with some contrasting lighting and many cast nets. It is a spectacular piece of work.
And a mega fan.
Yeah. That's not one she could have installed in her ears.
No. But no, I think that does bring us to the end.
It does.
A bonus episode.
Our bonus. We're just doing bonus episodes. We haven't even started this podcast.
I know, it's insane. But we wanted to give the lambs time to get the book. We know postage is not the best at the moment.
It's not okay. And if you want to read the hard copy, it could be taking some time to wing its way towards you.
Exactly.
Also, you may be a slow reader. I don't want to rush people to try and, get through a chapter. Like, take your time. You read as much as you need, and we're going to go chapter by chapter. Those chapters might be short. They might be long.
Yeah, we're not sure.
We don't know. We'll find out.
Exciting. We won't know what to do when we get to November 9, when we've done 18,000 bonus episodes and go, wait, what's the show again? Because there is so much more to come in the actual official episomes. We've got much more juicy little me moments and little
juice.
Sections and more interludes. And
I'm going to run out of names to drop by the end of this podcast.
I think I already have.
Poor Posh has exhausted his bank of names.
Yeah. Scott Brennan? The only name I haven't mentioned.
Pick that up. That's not worth dropping.
No, just leave it down there. Just drop it off. Drop it off at the pool.
Well, thank you so much, darling. Big air kisses. And we shall be back if we don't manage another bonus podcast in the next couple of weeks. We will definitely.
We're dead. I have died.
We'll definitely be doing the first chapter on the 9th of November. So please join us. We would love to have your company, Lamely. Mwah.
Bye.